Okay, Joe, before the break, we're talking about this potential 7.8%, this proposed tax increase by the mayor, and saying, listen, this is about mandates. It's about stuff you can't avoid. It's about retirements. It's about all of that. We have no choice.
Yeah, that's not untrue. That's not untrue. The fact is that we knew that these things were coming.
So you believe, is this going to be another one of these 7.8% proposal, and then everybody's going to get to work, and Morehouse is going to come out in a couple of weeks and say, we've done some work, and you're not going to believe it, but we've got it down to 3%. Is that going to happen here again?
I honestly don't see how. Again, when you have this pension cost, when you have long-term debt that you know is coming, and you
are we kicking the can?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we've been doing for 6 years, and now, like I told Andrew yesterday, now it's time to pay the piper.
Yeah.
Because we have not prepared ourselves, again, by saying no to new revenue. And you could say that we've grown our tax base, but we really haven't. We have $1 million in pilots that we're not collecting.
Does the hospital downtown increase revenue? It certainly would for the short term.
I think economically, eventually, of course, it increases revenue. I mean, just the amount, again, with sales tax, the more money that's spent inside Utica, the better off we are with our sales tax dollars.
Right.
Now, when you try to renegotiate that and you try to become a pool of money in a team region, then everyone helps everyone. But right now, we're only kind of counting on Utica, and that's why that county executive's proposal was such a good one.
Is this the moment you say, I have no choice but to run for mayor?
Look, if I ever run for mayor, it'll be because of things like this. If I have no reason to run for mayor if everything was going well and smoothly. I like doing what I do. I like the job that I have. I like my family life is going really well. I think that, though, there are things that we consistently drop the ball on in the effort of politics. And that's, it's a clever little niche that the mayor puts out, that everyone else is a politician but him, yet everything that he does has a smattering of politics or a direct, overt line of politics with it. So if I ever have an opportunity to go tell people that I'd like to be your mayor and I give people my thoughts on what I would do differently, it would be because of issues like this, because I cannot support an 8% tax increase on the backs of these people. They don't deserve it. They haven't done anything. I mean, all they've asked for was infrastructure, public works, and public safety.
So you say you'd vote no even though you feel it's inevitable?
No, I'd vote no because it shouldn't have been inevitable.
Okay.
I really honestly know.
But it's going to happen, though. I mean, would that be irresponsible? Let me dig in.
Yeah.
So you're going to vote no. We're going through this federally, right? Everybody's saying, the Democrats are sitting on their hands. But if you were to vote no, knowing that the city can't really survive without this 7.8% increase, wouldn't that be an irresponsible vote?
Yeah, but thankfully I don't have to vote no until March 20th. I'm going to get to work.
Right.
I mean, make no mistake about it. I'm going to get to work and see what could be cut.
Do you think stuff? I mean,
I know that. I know.
Earlier,
for sure.
You said you didn't think stuff could be cut.
No. I didn't. I think that what he did was the easiest path to a tax breakdown.
Okay.
That was I think he didn't take the hard route. I think he didn't call the comptroller's office, who I've spoken to yesterday. I think he didn't look at new revenue. I think he didn't look at cutting in other areas. Look,
what did the comptroller say? What did the comptroller office say?
Well, I can be honest with you. I only spoke to Mike Seminaro. I did not speak to Bill Morehouse directly. I spoke to Mike regarding the long-term debt, because that's one of the big pillars of this mayor's budget.
Yep.
And his long-term debt, I think that they did a decent job. They did everything that they could to lock in interest rates. They got a 2.74 interest rate on $11.5 million of combined debt, which includes paving, which includes parking garage repairs, not hospital parking garage, our parking garage repairs. It includes DPW machinery. It includes a sewer project. So there's a lot lumped into this long-term debt. I think the comptroller's office did everything that they could to lock in their rates. Again, though, there are definitely areas you can cut. I've seen them yesterday. I looked at the budget for 20 minutes, and I found about $500,000. So, I mean, when you take a route that you're just going to hit whatever you feel like doing, it's not an election year. 7.8 is people will forget by next year. I think that that's a lazy man's version of a budget, and the people didn't deserve it.
As it stands now, he couldn't run again anyway, though, could he?
As it stands now, sure, he could run for anything. He could run for assembly, lose, still run for mayor.
Victory. What you're saying. Okay.
No, he could run for mayor.
But the victory you guys had around the holidays
December,
turned out to be not a victory after all.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and that was a big problem that I had too. I mean, I've gotten memo after memo after memo regarding this. The Common Council, 5 members, had a reconsideration of a vote. So the majority of the Common Council felt that there should not be an extension on term limits. Now, the law department got right to work, gave us 100 memos as to why that what we did was inappropriate. There was a comma missing, the T not crossed. The minute we didn't get something from the mayor that was a charter ignoration, so when you're ignoring the charter, we didn't get it. It was crickets from the law department. I mean, so there's a double standard in the city, and it's unfortunate. It costs us money.
I can't help but say that every year we seem to have the same story. The mayor comes out with a high tax increase, and then somehow, miraculously, it's whittled away to 0.8% or something.
Yeah, it's not a miracle though, Bill. It's a lot of hard work that the council puts in, and that's what happens every year. So what the mayor does is he says, "Well, I'm not going to cut you guys. I'll let the council do it." So when he goes into his department head meetings and he says, "Look, guys, I know that we're probably
you guys got to be the bad guys. You guys got to cut."
Of course. So it's not a miracle. It's a lot of hard work that we put in, and a lot of conversations. Like I remember, a few years ago, the police department needed police vehicles. We needed them, and we were really running low on them, and we had to say no to them. But what I did was I found another way by doing it through a lease purchase that saved the city a bunch of money, and we had an opportunity to get the police department what they needed. So if the mayor had looked into that option and did it with the police department originally, there would have never been any disconnect between the Common Council and the police. It would have been a direct shot at getting their equipment. But for a few months, until we can come up with this lease purchase concept, there was, a little bit of animosity between the department, and their job is to fight for what they need because they actually do need it. It's never a wish list.
So if you're at a 7.8% here, and maybe you can whittle it down,
right?
But you're looking at the mayor saying we have a revenue issue. How do you afford to add, for instance, the money that you'd be responsible for with a parking garage?
I don't know that you can, and again, that's the problem. If you want paving, if you want a parking garage, if you want a hospital, these revenue items have got to be negotiated to get great deals for the city. You're going to have to stop with the pilots. Those are just getting out of hand. Again, when we're $900 million in our pilot program, that's a lot of money. That's 4% on your taxes right now, just in pilot agreements. Now, in the past, I understand you need to give away these buildings so you can say, look, we're not in great shape. We need you here. We need to entice you here with a pilot. Now, we're holding a little bit of the cards, and we're not showing it. So every time some business comes into the city, they roll us for the money that we're not collecting from them in taxes. We need to make better deals in regards to our business entities here.
All that downtown development, that's all through pilot programs?
99% of what happened in the last 6 years from downtown is pilot programs outside of the people that have done their own due diligence and not worked with the city. People like Bite Bakery, people like Utica Coffee, people like the Tailor and the Cook, or places like that. But 99% of what's going on in downtown that has dealt with the city is all in some version of a pilot program, and that's destroying our tax base because we're not going to make money off of URA properties.
I will say that the people who have invested downtown, several that I've spoken with, those that have, say they came down specifically because the hospital was going to be there.
Yeah, and look, let me be very, very clear. The people that have invested downtown are tremendous people, and in fact, I'll even make a case that they are tremendous business people, because if I'm going to build something downtown, or if I'm going to come downtown, I'm going to get the best deal I could for my business. Yeah. So what they're doing is 100% accurate in what they should be. I'm just saying that we can be a little bit more forceful in these negotiations because we have the hospital, because we have the prospects of Nano, and I know that that's a dirty word, but I'll tell you right now, there's a $600 million building sitting on top of Marcy. Someone's going to put something in there. So we have a lot of prospects. I hear there's
like 3 or 4 that might be close. Are you hearing the same thing?
I've heard 3 companies that are really, really close. I mean, I know that they're keeping it close to their chest because everyone's so guarded now, and they don't want any news to be released before there's an actual, guy walking in there.
Well, I think they have. There's good news. There have been lessons learned where the deal's got to be done. You got to be ready to put the punch card into the little machine there before.
Agreed. But I'll tell you, I am not ashamed to say that I believe in Nano 100% because of what I heard.
MVHS is holding a press conference of some sort today. What's that about?
Yeah, I don't know. I got a release that there was going to be something going on at 11 o'clock. I can only imagine what everyone else would imagine. It's got to do with eminent domain. It's got to do with the seeker process.
Who's doing the eminent domain? That seemed to be the big question.
I mean,
we don't know yet.
The left
Maybe
shoe doesn't know what the right shoe is doing. I mean,
do you think they've done a poor job of rolling this out?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that it could have
Can I
been done
ask
a lot better.
One more on the hospital. It's about whether or not the city has committed to bond with the county. There was some conversation about the mayor committed the city. Should the council have to do it? We had a conversation. I don't want to confuse anybody and try to recall what you said previously.
We've heard from two. Some say the council's got to approve it. Others are saying doesn't have to. The mayor can do that on his own.
The mayor did it on his own.
Right.
He's done. I mean, what the council could do, and it wouldn't even be a bad idea because the council has supported this concept in the past, and I would vote yes on it tomorrow if they gave it to me, but they have to drive it down to us. So the mayor has already signed the agreement. In fact,
and the hospital moved forward because the mayor signed the agreement.
Exactly.
So could you imagine a scenario where the Common Council backed the city out of the deal? That would be a real problem.
Right, exactly. And what they did, but not to get into the weeds too much about it, the mayor had signed an agreement that was presented to him about a year and a half ago. Wish he would have signed it a year and a half ago because the agreement didn't change. It's not like he renegotiated it and got some better deal for us. It's the same exact agreement. So we're a year and a half behind the 8 ball here a little bit because that agreement was signed so late, but he has the opportunity to sign it on his own. I've said it publicly, I'll say it here. If the mayor and his staff bring down a piece of legislation saying, does the Common Council support what I did? I'd say yes in a heartbeat. The fact is, though, I don't know where it is.
Would you have a majority vote, do you think?
I would imagine. I mean, I was the first person that ever voted on anything in the city of Utica or the county. I put out a piece supporting the downtown location about a year and a half, 2 years ago, to make sure that everyone knew, including the mayor, that he had political backing, that if he were to do it, he had the Common Council with us, and it went 9-0, that we would look into the downtown site as the preferred site. And I have a resolution. It's non-binding, of course, but I had no problem doing it. But again, when we continue to drop the ball on these things, it's becoming to be a little late here. So we're going to really need to get the ball rolling. We're going to need to make sure that we negotiate revenue. We're going to need to make sure that we keep taxes low to entice people to live here.
Yeah, I want to focus on this one element of the city is locked in, committed to this parking garage. Is that your understanding?
With the mayor's signature.
With the mayor, that's my understanding. With the mayor's signature.
He wouldn't kick something down to you to ask if you support, right? That would just muddy the water. Because anybody who says no. Anybody who's against the hospital would say, "Look, you got 4 counselors."
Could you imagine if the council voted against it, and then the mayor had to come back and say, "Well, thanks, but we're still moving forward."
Yeah. He's got no choice.
Right. Okay. So the city is committed to that. Okay.
The mayor is committed to the city through a memorandum of understanding and a memorandum of agreement, in fact, with the county and the hospital. And that's, again, how they got to go in and ask for their certificate of need because they had to secure the financing.
So that is a done deal.
It's a done deal.
Okay. All right there, Mr. Marino. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys, so much.
Deputy Mayor, is that what we used to call
Deputy
you
Mayor
back in the day?
Awful title.
It is, especially in a city the size of Utica. It's like, what does that make you?
Yeah, right.
You might be driving the trucks or something.
I'm more than happy to be the councilman of the 4th Ward. I'm proud of my neighborhood.
Not that there's anything wrong with driving the trucks, because those guys are going to be working, and ladies are going to be working very, very hard.
A lot of truck drivers are floating around doing some work in this area.
This weekend, with plowing these roads. Looks like a big storm.
Those guys keep us going. Those plow guys do a tremendous job.
All right, Joe, thanks so much.